Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, titled Truth. There are spoilers ahead, so go ahead and watch the episode before continuing with this video. I really liked this episode. I thought that, it just keeps getting better and better. It was definitely the best so far, and I really like that it slowed down and spent a lot of time with the characters after how fast-paced and plot-heavy episode 4 was. And WandaVision episode 5 is my favorite episode of that series, and after this episode, I am concerned about Falcon and the Winter Soldier not sticking the finale, so I feel like episode 5 might end up being my favorite of every Disney Plus show. Starting with John Walker, I thought that his opening fight scene with Sam and Bucky was so good. That fight scene is the best in any Captain America movie in my opinion, because just all of the subtext, and then how it ended with Sam crying and trying to rub the blood off the shield, and the fact that Walker was so unhinged to the point where he tried murdering Sam at least twice, and they had to break his arm to get the shield off. It really reminded me of the Avengers trying to get the gauntlet off of Thanos on Titan, and I just really loved it. That being said, I don't understand how Walker went immediately insane. Yes, he took the serum, but this man went from being from having a little bit of a temper in episode 3 when that man spit in his face, to being fully unhinged and insane and just screaming I am Captain America while he tries to kill innocent people. So I do think that although I like where he is in this episode, I don't really like the journey to get there, because his unhingedness and insanity was not really hinted at before this episode, and I think that they could have developed that better in episodes 2 and 3. The scene that he had with Lamar's parents was really sad, and I do like that his conversation with them is what pushed him to continue being Captain America even though he's not supposed to be. However, the audacity of John Walker, why does he think he can just build his own shield out of steel and that'll be good enough? There was a shot in the mid-season sneak peek that they released that led me to believe that he was going to have a new shield, and I thought it would be government made with vibranium, not this man making it in his garage. I really enjoyed Julia Louis-Dreyfus's cameo. I know that a lot of people were disappointed, and to that, it's you learned your lesson with WandaVision. Don't get your hopes up. We knew that this cameo was about the actor, not the character. I never expected her to be in the MCU, but the character is actually pretty interesting, because Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, ridiculous name, but she has gone by Madam Hydra in the comics, although she's usually more of an espionage agent for S.H.I.E.L.D., as well as an old love interest of Nick Fury's. I'm really excited to see where she goes in the future, because Vanity Fair revealed that she was supposed to debut in Black Widow, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus has a large future with the MCU, with plans for her to appear in multiple projects. So I think that she's going to be either Ross's recruiter for the Thunderbolts, kind of like the Maria Hill to his Nick Fury, which would be really great because she's played by a comedy actress like Maria Hill is. But I also think that she could be the opposite to Ross. Ross could be assembling the Thunderbolts, and she could be trying to assemble the Dark Avengers. I think that that would be too many teams, so I would really prefer it if she was working with Ross. Switching gears back to Sam, I am so glad that he got more of the spotlight in this episode. I feel like people have really been overlooking him. And the whole thing with him taking the shield, him and Bucky, but Bucky gave it to him and everything. This episode was all about Sam finally accepting the legacy. And I really liked the way it was done. I love that he went back to Isaiah. I'm sad that we didn't get any Isaiah flashbacks, but hearing Isaiah's story and seeing evidence of what the government did to him, with those withheld letters and that brand on his stomach, I think that that scene was really powerful. And again, kind of that meaning of a black man being Captain America, finally being explored, was really good. And I do I do see Sam struggle, and I am interested to see if he goes back to Isaiah and he's I understand what you said, but I'm still gonna be Captain America. I'm just really interesting to see how all of these kind of different sentiments are gonna tie together when Sam finally puts on that suit. And I do believe that his Captain America suit is in that briefcase that the Wakandans gave him. So I cannot wait to see that next week. I loved his training montage. I loved the scenes with his nephews with the shield. And I really liked that they went back to Louisiana and fixed up the boat, and we got some nice moments with him and Sarah. I like that everyone in Sam's life pushed him to pushed him towards this path of becoming Captain America. Bucky was pretty good in this episode as well. I liked his scene with Zemo, although I was a little bit disappointed that that's how Zemo's story ends. Zemo was a good addition to this show, but I just am very confused about why he didn't have a bigger role. I definitely expected more from him. Even when they announced him at Comic-Con in 2019, it seemed like he would be the main villain, so I kept waiting for him to betray them or do something, and we just didn't get any of that. I really liked revisiting Sokovia and seeing that memorial, although I do think that scene, with Bucky pointing the gun at him and then letting the bullets drop out of his hand, wasn't as powerful because the bullets dropping out of his hand was one of the very first shots we ever saw from this show back in the 2020 Super Bowl spot. And the other thing is that turning him over to the Wakandans is very confusing to me because I don't understand why they're taking him to the raft. He should go rot in a Wakandan prison for the rest of his life. But the problem is he can't escape from a Wakandan prison. If he goes to the raft, Ross is running the raft, so he could obviously get Zemo out and onto the Thunderbolts, which I think is the only reason why he's going there. And there are Netflix villains there, including Trish Walker and Diamondback, so I really hope that those characters can make a return as well. I know we've gotten a little bit off track here, but I also think Io telling Bucky to make himself scarce in Wakanda for the time being was interesting because I didn't think that he had a connection there anymore. I assumed that after Infinity War, he just, went back home to New York. But if she's telling him to make himself scarce, it kind of seems like he comes and goes. I would really like to see him cameo in the Wakanda show, and I think a spin-off show about Bucky becoming the White Wolf, where Wakanda plays a large supporting role in addition to the Disney Plus Wakanda series. I think that would be a really interesting way to flesh out Bucky's connections with them. I also thought his conversation with Sam while they were kind of training together was really interesting because Sam told him oh, you have to stop letting other people tell you who to be and dictate your self-image, and I think that that's a really good point. And, like I've said before in these reviews, Bucky has been very much of a nothing character in the MCU up to this point. I felt like he was okay in the first Avenger, but after that, they really have not had the time or they haven't taken the time necessary to flesh him out, post Winter Soldier. And so I do hope that we see him make some good active choices in the finale, how Sam told him that you need to give these people closure instead of just trying to undo what you did as the Winter Soldier. And so I really hope that we see the old man from the premiere make a reappearance. And I loved seeing Bucky happy in Louisiana and flirting with Sarah. All of that kind of little domestic stuff was really cute. And so I hope that Bucky's in a good place by the time this show ends. And now it's time to rant about the villains. I know everyone's saying don't compare Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. I think that that's a really stupid sentiment. They should be compared. They're the first two Disney Plus series. So, I mean, how are you not going to compare them? And the villains are the weak spots for both of them. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has tried to develop their villains a little bit better, but I see the same problems going into the finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I did with WandaVision. Sharon's clearly a villain now. She literally sent Batroc to go kill Sam. I don't think that they are going to be able to wrap up this show and Walker and Carly's story in a satisfying way and also give a good reason for why Sharon Carter is a villain in the same episode. So I'm getting pretty worried about that. Also, Carly's just not a good villain. I think that she's an interesting character, but her fight makes so much sense. The GRC is poorly fleshed out. The whole world politics situation is very poorly developed, but her fighting for open borders after refugees were allowed during the blip, I think that makes sense. And yet she's just killing random people and making inconsistent actions for no reason. Starting in episode 3, so she blows up that building for no reason. In episode 4, she tries to kill Captain America for no reason. And now in episode 5, she's about to attack a GRC vote for no reason. Even if you kill all the voting members of the council, wouldn't a new council just come up? So it seems beyond stupid to me. I also don't understand how she has so much public support because we have not seen the public react in any way. We've just heard news snippets about how she's gathering support, but we haven't really seen it, except for that scene where that man harbored her and the other Flag Smashers. And so I really hate it because these are TV series, not movies. You should not have poorly developed villains in TV series. I keep comparing Falcon and the Winter Soldier to the Netflix shows. But the Netflix shows had good, well-developed villains, and that is something that right now both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier are sorely lacking. In terms of Lego stuff from this episode, I don't really know what I would want, because like not a lot of new stuff was introduced. I think that it would be cool to get a minifigure of Contessa Allegra, or Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine. Her name is so complicated. Because I think like a new hairpiece with a purple streak would be really cool. But I don't think that that should be made for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It should be made for something where she has a bigger role. And other than that, I don't really have much else to say because I don't think anything here would make a particularly good set because, like I said, this was a slower episode. And I think we'll have to wait for the finale because I think the finale will provide like more opportunities if Lego wanted to make something. Overall, I think I'd rate this episode like a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I think, again, the villains are really weak. But I mean, I'm still really enjoying Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I feel like a lot of people are hating on it too much and they're like, oh, like new Marvel isn't good and like Falcon and the Winter Soldier is so mediocre. But I mean, these shows are all about character development, and weak villains and good heroes are kind of Marvel's typical formula. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more from the villains, but because Phase 3 actually gave us decent villains for the first time. But I mean, I'm very happy with what's happening with Sam and Bucky, and we are getting the next Captain America. They're setting up the Thunderbolts, and I'm sure like this is leading to a lot of places that we just don't know about yet. Because I mean, quite frankly, I think the Earth-based stuff is the most boring out of any of the new Marvel projects. But yeah, I'm wondering how the finale is going to shake out. I'm hoping it's going to be able to stick the landing, unlike WandaVision, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com. I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.